Happy Sunday. This is PFG Live, the podcast that asks if you're flat enough for what you need to do. Let's see. Evils is here. Evils is reporting a made-up format which says it's 21 degrees inside his shop. DBX is with us from somewhere in the vicinity of White Plains, New York, and he's reporting winds are 340 at 12, gusting 17, visibility 10 miles, few clouds at 4,000, temperature 04, dew point -07, altimeter 29er, 9 or 6. Tucker is with us, 33 degrees and cloudy with a little snow on the ground in Buffalo, New York. So we had 4 inches of fluffy snow here in Windham, New Hampshire, and it's all starting to melt. So this welcome to the channel. This is Spiral Tap, 33 and gray in Strasburg, Ohio. Where have I heard the name Strasburg, Ohio? I'll remember. Carl Tauber is with us. He says it's 38 degrees, sunny, and blowing 10 miles an hour out of the north in Rhode Island. You're getting our exhaust fumes. That's why we're blowing it. Okay, never mind. Anyway, welcome aboard. It's a gorgeous day. The sun came out. It's severe clear. I actually started the snowblower to get rid of the little bit that was sitting on the driveway, and now it's all melting and it's looking great. Currently at Manchester, New Hampshire Airport, winds are 330 at 14 knots, visibility 10 miles, few clouds at 3,000, few clouds at 25,000, temperature 01, dew point -09, altimeter 29er, 89er. Josh, our audio checker, says audio is check. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman. Welcome to everybody in Discord, including, but not limited to, Josh, DBX, Tucker, Evils, Carl Tauber, Dale. This is Spiral Tap. I'm going to trip on that. You know that, right? Jamie, Chris O, and Thomas Hardy. Welcome aboard. And then on the YouTubes, we have also Josh and also Carl. Welcome. So I didn't get today's thumbnail out until this morning. So people who are not in the know don't know. So we may have a light crowd today. It's okay with me. Let's see. Josh is reporting in southern Manitoba from station Charlie X-Ray Mike Delta. Winds are 340 at 11, gusting 18, temperature -21, dew point -24. Man, it's cold. And somewhere in the remarks, it says peak winds 330 at 19. Zowie. Dale says in Snow, Mexico, it's -3°C and sunny in northwest Snow, Mexico. Welcome aboard, sir. Thank you for being here. Josh says yesterday it was all the way up at -5. That's science, in case you guys are wondering. Ugly Skull is here. Welcome aboard, sir. He says it's 23 degrees science, visibility 22 kilometers, cloudy and gusty at 3 o'clock in the morning in the Philippines. You are a trooper. Welcome. Awesome. Well, we'll sort of get underway here, and as people walk in, you could grab a donut in the back. There's some coffee. Dale got the coffee maker going. Grab a cup of coffee and come on in. Thank you to the new YouTube subscribers for joining us. We usually have a good time. Controversial, yes, strangely good. Current subscriber count 2037. I think the next magic number is 2048 for you computer nerds. That's coming real quick. And yeah, welcome aboard. I was listening, while I was snowblowing this morning, I was listening to The Business of Machining. I got the name right this time. And listening to John and John talk, and that was a lot of fun. And, speaking of John and John, I keep telling myself to not forget to do this. I got some goodies. Now, if you're on the audio podcast, I will give you a verbal description of what I'm showing you. But I got a nice bunch of Saunders Machine Works swag. I got a lovely hat from Saunders Machine Works. Thank you, John. I got, of course, some stickers got some stickers from Saunders Machine Works. Thank you very much. And I got the largest surface magnet ever. I have to figure out which machine this is going to go on, from Saunders Machine Works. Thank you very much. By the way, if you need something flat that's got a lot of holes in it, go check out Saunders Machine Works. And finally, the best part of this is I got a t-shirt, which I think is of a generation that I don't currently have. I'll just show you one of them. This is I love this one, with the adaptive toolpath from Saunders Machine Works. Anyway, John, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I love being in a community where we help each other out. You know, we come up with problems and we say, hey, can you help me out with a thing? And it's like we help each other and send stuff in the mail, except for Canada, sorry. And, get stuff done. That was really sweet of you. Thanks. I appreciate it. CJ Stevens has joined us. Hello, CJ. 34 degrees and snow in East Tennessee. The chickens are not having it. Well, they better get used to it. Dale says, we just send clutter to you. Thank you so much. You will, if you get clutter credits and I lose clutter credits, isn't that like balance in the universe? I think it is. Protium Machining. Hey, Protium, you made the board. Check this out. Nope, the other way. Protium Machining, sticker on the board right there. Welcome aboard, sir. Who else checked in? I think there was another one. No, I think that's about it. That and at 37 cents will get you a cup of coffee somewhere, probably in Manitoba. Welcome aboard. I'm working on this project, and Protium has been helpful. I outsourced some stuff to Protium. One day I might be able to show it. It's the same project that the Great Squiggle Wars was part of, and I can report that there's one part left in that project that I have to make, and with apologies to John Saunders, on the lathe. So we're so close. So I might be lathing tomorrow morning and getting those parts made. They're about this long. This meaning about 1.25 inches, and they're made out of brass, and they have a pretty simple, interesting shape on both ends and like that. So stay tuned. More to follow on that. What else happened in the shop this week? So for reasons I cannot completely identify, I was running CNC cycles on the grinder, not an unusual event in my shop. And I was cleaning. I had about a 1-hour cycle time, so I was cleaning during the cycles, which is sort of what you do when you do CNC machining. But in this particular case, I was like making some serious progress. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was the air pressure, the wind, the temperature, not sure. But the shop is getting stunningly clean. And one of the things I got done this week, let's see if I can show you this, is, this isn't going to sound like much, but I've had my 1941 bandsaw up on wheels on its dolly for literally for years, and I finally got around to making the jack stands, the jack screws, which I'm showing on the video right now, which lifts the whole dolly off the floor and unloads the wheels and stabilizes it, and that is done. The importance of that is it forced me to find a place for the bandsaw that would still allow some traffic around it. The bridge port's right there. Here, I'll show you the picture of what the shop looks like from above. And I could start working on the VFD. So I'm this is a 3-phase device. I'm putting a VFD on it, and everything will be cool. CJ says, been cleaning in my shop too. New lathe caused everything to have to be moved. When everything has to get moved, you tend to clean shop. And that's great. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy. Oh, by the way, Protium, you might recognize those boxes right on the left of that picture. Dale. So Dale just started renting another piece of space adjacent to his shop, which is going to become part of his shop. So now he's expanding. He's been in this massive project of blowing through the wall, moving machines, and he just moved, was it 4 machines that you moved, Dale? It was 3 machines. It was very impressive. Some big machines too. And they have been moved, and wiring is happening, a lathe and 2 mills. So I think it's signs of spring. Moving machines around is a sign of spring. Proteum says moving shops is the worst. Well, yes, moving complete shop moves is not a lot of fun, and we should start a support group. Oh wait, we have a support group, and this is it. So that's somebody asked me, by the way, when I posted this photo. I think I posted this on Instagram. Somebody says we want a shop tour. So I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. When I get the bandsaw VFD installation complete, I will do a shop tour video. I haven't done a real one, I think, and I think it's time for that. I could take my entire shop and put it in Dale's shop, and it would just be like a corner. CJ also wants a shop tour. Oh, okay, I'll do it, but I got to get the bandsaw done because that's really hanging over my head, and I really want to get it done. So what else happened this week? Oh, I have a funny story for you. Do I have show and tell here? No, I'm not going to bring it over. So in the project that I'm working on, we needed we needed some parts, and I found a company that was in Massachusetts that was the manufacturer's, part of the manufacturer's locations, and it was the thing I needed was this power resistor. In the world of electrical engineering, there is nothing simpler. There is no component simpler than a resistor. Okay. In my case, I needed this resistor for this RF circuit that I'm working on, this RF device. And it was one of the last pieces of the puzzle to get this project done. So it's a little resistor. It's a 250 watt, 100 ohm resistor. This does not sound exciting, does it? So months ago, I contact the applications engineer, I guess, and he sends me some 3 data sheets on 3 different types of resistors that they make, and I'm like, this is the one I need right here. And he says, okay, well, get in touch with me when you're ready to go. Here's the key. He says, we have 18 of these on the shelf. I'm like, cool. I wanted less than 18. So I get to the point where it's ready to go grab those resistors, and I call them up and I said, okay, I need these things. And they're like, oh, well, wait a minute. You have to be in our system. And if you're not in our system, we can't sell them to you. Well, this was just crazy. And I said, I've been dealing with companies in New England for 25 years. What the heck is going on? And they said, well, we got acquired by a big company, and now, you have to be in our... Anyway, long story short, I had to invoke some magic incantations, which I will not bore you with, that has to do with contracting. And finally I twisted their arm and they said, come on down. We're going to give you the 10 pieces as a sample, which, by the way, is the best way to do it because it's the least amount of paperwork. So I get in my truck and I drive 90 minutes, hour and a half to get to this place. And I met a super nice person. Okay. And she's, I buzzes me in through the door. We sit down and we talk for a minute. And she said, I said, I've been going through a lot of, hey, Machine Wise, thank you for your order. I bet you didn't think you'd hear that live. So she says, we got acquired by thus and such company, and they said that we could continue doing business with anybody that was on our books prior to whatever the year she said. She said, after that, you have to be in their global system and an approved customer. Otherwise, you have to go through distribution. And I said, oh, you mean like, and I'm fusing a few conversations. Oh, you mean like DigiKey or yeah, that's right. And I said, so if I place an order with DigiKey, what happens? Oh, they call me, and then I have to fill the order. So I'm literally sitting 25 feet from my parts. So she was super nice, and she said, look, we're going to sample you this stuff. Let me go pick it up. So she leaves. She goes into the other room, and she goes into the warehouse, I guess. And she comes back with the parts in the proper packaging, with paperwork and the whole pedigree. And it was great. Nicest person ever. And she says, and oh, by the way, I'm retiring on Friday and I can't wait. And I said, good for you. And I congratulated her, and really good for her, because here's a company that's been around since, I don't know, 40 years, 50 years in New England. I don't know the exact start date. They get acquired by some big conglomerate, and all of a sudden, all the rules change, and that small business helpful attitude is corporately gone. The people are cool, but they are now bound by rules from the acquiring company. And this is not the first time I've gone through this on this project. All I know is that I finally had my parts in my hand. So she says, oh, let me get this. There's a guy who's sort of the sales guy. You know, I'll bring him down. His name was Tony. Hi, Tony. And he comes down, and I said, hey, Tony, I appreciate you guys helping me out. Important project, trying to get this thing in for a landing, and I really appreciate it. Tony was not a happy camper. You could see it on his face. And I just stayed positive. I thanked him so much profusely for his help. And I said that we would go back to them for these parts in the future, which is true. But you could read, you know, just like I read the first person who was just very helpful, very happy to help. This guy was just like, I don't want to be here. That's the vibe I was getting from him. Well, I took my 10 parts and I got in my truck and I ran. So I got my parts. But here's the point. I had this experience with the etched parts, right? I went to a company that I had dealt with for over 20 years on and off. I'm not the biggest customer. In fact, I might be, like I used to joke, I'm the best, smallest customer they'll ever have. And when I went for the etched parts, what should have been a $1,500, $2,000 quote came in at $7,000. That was the etched parts company. Why? Because they got taken over by a big corporate conglomerate, and they had new rules, new everything. And if this wasn't a juicy enough project with lots and lots of zeros before the decimal point, they didn't want to talk to you. Okay? In that particular case, as you are no doubt aware, because you've been following the PFG.Live, we ended up making our own parts. Let me take a quick break and say welcome to Test Room 2003. He says he's late for the party. It's okay. We don't take attendance. He says at 3.3 degrees science and 98% relative humidity and 1,039 hectopascals in Oostkapelle, Netherlands. Welcome aboard, sir. Paul Morley is here. Welcome aboard, sir. We need a weather report from you, Paul, especially from you, Paul, because you're in the middle of the furnace, and we need to know what is the temperature. So anyway, we got our our etched parts laser cut. See previous episode. That was a success. In fact, if you look at the thumbnail for today, I'll zoom back to that if I could get to it. Stuck in the corner of today's thumbnail is the picture of all of our parts made, ready to go on this project. So the parts that were going to be etched were laser cut. And I decided I would send an email. Now, I had sent out RFQs, request for quote, to 6 companies after I got that $7,000 insult. I sent out RFQs, and sure enough, I got several very responsive companies, very positive. One of them sent me the drawing of how they were going to lay out my parts for etching. I mean, just like instantly. It was amazing. And I sent emails to all of them in which I said, hey, I appreciate your rapid response and your quote and your, I decided we're going to do this in-house with our in-house equipment. Thank you very much. But we're going to keep you on our list. Except for one company, which was the $7,000 quote company. I modified the email a little bit. I will leave that as an exercise for the student. And the 2 or 3 companies that were really responsive when I asked for the quote were also really responsive when I gave them a rejection. And they said, hey, we understand completely that you were able to use your in-house resources. Go team. Keep us in mind for the next project. Now, what company do you want to work with? Right? So I had these very positive companies that I could have given the etching work to. But if I relied, here's the message. If I relied on previous experience with companies that was very positive, but was old experience, right? I would have been screwed. I had to reset. I had to say, oh, hang on. I have to reset, go back out with a complete naive point of view and get some new quotes. And that's exactly what I did. And I found new friends, new companies that were the right kind of companies to work with. So my message to you is, if you've been dealing with the same company for a couple of decades and you haven't looked elsewhere, you might be in a position where you're being taken advantage of. Or like me, if you approach vendors that you haven't talked to in a long time, they may not be the same people that you talked to before, and it's not going to be the same experience. Paul says he's digging out from the snow. It's been a cool 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees science here at the house in Arizona. Well, thank you for that report, sir. I appreciate it. So here's a happy story, okay? There's a company that does testing, RF testing, FCC certification, all that kind of stuff. And over the years, because I design antennas, we've had this very good relationship. Companies would come to me, hey, we need our product certified. Can you help us out? And I'd say no, but I'm going to send you to these guys. Similarly, companies would go to those guys and say, hey, we need an antenna design for our product. And they would say, well, we don't do that, but we'll send you to Antennasis. So we've had this really nice relationship literally for at least 25 years, about 25 years. Proteum says, we live in a time where it's easy to look like a rock star company, be responsive, communicate openly, and do good work. Amen, brother. Dale says, or just answer the phone with a human. That's pretty responsive these days. So anyway, this company up north on this project, I needed a power amplifier. And I knew these guys had power amplifiers, RF power amplifiers, for susceptibility testing. This is where you put something in a screen room and you blast it with high power RF and you see if it breaks. That's an oversimplification. And he said, yeah, we have that. So he told me what he had and what the power levels were. And I said, okay. He says, yeah, if you need it, just let me know. Come on up. And you could, so wonderful relationship, wonderful two-way relationship. Hey, you need some equipment, come up, you could use it. And I would of course say, hey, you need a measurement made on something, come on down. So that was the good news. Fantastic relationship, long-term, 20-year plus relationship. It was awesome. They have not been taken over by the aliens. Anyway, that was all the good news. So if you have a vendor and it's been acquired by Engulf and Devour, I would consider getting a new vendor as a backup, because they're not going to be the same. And good luck. We're all counting on you. The other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about is I don't think I've told this story before. I may have mentioned it in passing, but I don't do a lot of things. I do a few things, and I do them pretty deeply. And there's sort of a difference between being a specialist and being a generalist. Now, I'll give you a couple examples that just popped into my head. I know a guy who's not here today. Where is he? Who does laser, not laser. He does arc welding, electrical welding of bores on machines in situ. So if you have a machine that's got a worn out bearing, Warren Jones up in near Concord, New Hampshire, his specialty is he walks up to your machine, your clapped out huge earth mover, and he can lay in new metal in the bore it out with these amazing machines that clamp onto them. Line boring. Yeah, line boring. I guess you'd call it portable line boring. That is a specialty, right? I mean, he could do a lot of things. He's an amazing, talented guy, but that is a specialty. So when the guys out there that have a machine that starts getting a loose bearing, need that thing fixed, who are they going to call? They're going to call Warren, and Warren does a really super job and has this specialized knowledge. That's an example of a specialization. It doesn't mean he can't do other things, but it means that he has a specific strength. He has a particular set of skills. In my case, it's antennas. Let's go back in time. When I was a young punk, pretty early in my career, I worked for a company called Analog Devices. And Analog Devices made integrated circuits, and I met some of the finest engineers I've ever known at that company. Full stop. But I was growing. I was pretty unhappy at that company, not because of the people and not because of the specific work, but because it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So I was sort of lost. I was like a lost soul. And one day, I had the good fortune of being associated with Paul Brokaw. Now, Paul was one of the absolute, not one of the, he was probably the best design engineer I've ever met. He's a legend in analog design. Haven't talked to him in a few years. I know he's getting on. And Paul, if you're listening to this by some miracle, I love you. And you taught me a heck of a lot. But the most important lesson that you taught me was this. I don't remember the circumstances. I don't remember what led to it, but I remember we were in a hall, we were standing, and he kind of got a little agitated with me on something. And he turned to me and he said, "You know your problem? you don't have any focus. And it hit me like a brick on the front of the head. And I managed to not, fall over. And it wasn't too long after that I realized I really like antennas. No, really. I really like antennas. And I started in my outside time, away from work, I started doodling antennas. And I'd been doing this for years as a ham radio operator. And I decided that that's really what I want to be doing. So I started learning, and one day I left analog devices, and pretty shortly thereafter I started doing antenna consulting, and that's another story. But the point is that I started doing essentially one thing. I focused. Thank you, Paul, for the kick in the butt. That led to some consulting, which led to a job for 6 years, which led to starting my own company, and I've been doing it ever since. So does that mean there's nothing else I'm good at? No. But it means I picked a focus and I said, you know what? I'm the best guy you're going to find to do this. And that causes you to get better. And then you get better. And you could say that even stronger. And that turned into a career. So is it the only thing I do? No. But I was able to push aside and say no to a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't that focus. And I never lost the fascination, the interest, and certainly not the expertise in that area, despite going into some other areas like machining and precision machining. And now I sell PFG Stones, which, by the way, if you need some flat stuff, go to PFGstones.com. But it means I focused. Even in the PFG Stones business, people will say to me, "Hey, do you make a thing that does a thing with a thing?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." We still get requests for certain things that are out of focus. So my encouragement to you is to pick something that you love, enjoy, are good at, some combination of the above, and drive down that road. I see Robin is here. Welcome aboard, Robin. Robin does some magnificent things with spindles that are fantastic. Super focused on precision work. Proteum is focused on rapid turn of customer requirements and does a fantastic job of it. So figure out what your focus is. It is critical. You can't have the, welcome to Acme Corporation, we do stuff. That's not going to work. Oh, you're welcome. I only speak the truth, Proteum. So, we were last week we were talking about the laser, and I was talking about the focus experiments and how looking for focus, and it hit me that's like, well, it kind of means a few things here, yeah, that's where that thought came from. Let's see. Robin is here. Welcome aboard. DBX says, "There goes my business model." Hey, you could focus on the non-focused business model, and then that would be your focus. Would that work? It might work. It could be something there. You're welcome, Robin. I'm not making this stuff up. So Josh says, "Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What were we talking about?" Oh, yeah. Dale's business model is shiny object. Oh, you guys are awesome. So I have a laser. Did I mention that? And the way this laser works is it gets all this laser energy going, and it shoves it down out this hole and this hole is about, the size of a quarter. And then this laser energy, which is in this big patch the size of a quarter, goes bouncing through the machine, hits a mirror, hits another mirror, hits another mirror, finally makes it into the schnoz of the laser that does the cutting. And there's a picture of it in our thumbnail today. And then there's a lens. And the lens takes this significant amount of energy that's spread out, and it focuses it down to about 1,000th of an inch. And now it'll cut things. It'll engrave things. You go to the big boys lasers, and it will blast through things. But you could have the exact same laser energy spread out over the size of a quarter, and it's not going to do anything. That's you. You have knowledge, you have energy, you have expertise, but if you spread it out over this whole area, who knows what you're going to do. But if you focus it on something, you could do anything. There you go. I promised to talk about new toys. So, and if you guys have questions, concerns, or protests, feel free to put it in the chat, in either the YouTube chat or the Discord chat, and we'll talk about it. I got a toy. It's not a toy; it's a tool. We know the difference, don't we? I needed to do some hand finishing, some special, hand finishing on stuff. Oh, do I have a picture of the... No, I'm not going to show you that. Let's see if I could find a picture of the new toy. I got a handheld rotary tool. Here it is. I found it. From a company called NSK. And NSK is a Japanese company, and they make, amongst other things, dental tools. Now, I had chatted with several other owners of this tool, which include, but are not limited to, Mr. Adam Demuth and his alter ego, This is Spiral Tab. I talked to Stefan Gottswinter, who also has one. I talked to DBX, who also has one. And I talked to Proteum, I think, who also has one. And to a person, they all said something that was a variation of, it's the best tool in my shop. So I was pretty sure I wasn't throwing my money away, and I ordered this rotary tool. I have not cut metal with it yet. Stay tuned. I literally just got it last week. But I did unpack it and did get it running. So Adam says, Adam Savage of Mythbusters is also in our very cool club. Is he here now? Adam, Discord. You know how to do it. Right? Okay. Yeah, it's an amazing tool. So what you're seeing here is the part that sits on the bench or sits on the shelf is essentially the power supply and motor driver. Yeah, you're not wrong, Evils. It's the motor driver. And then the handheld device is the motor. And this sucker, there's two models of hand tools. Yeah, Proteum says, order a bunch of different bits from McMaster and find what you like best. I plan on ordering all the things, but I have some leftover tools, which I'm going to try first. There are some objectively better than others, says Proteum. The last 10% is personal preference. No problem. Flame tip is best. Fight me. Listen, dude, I would not fight you over this. I will listen to you, and I will absolutely consult you before that McMaster car order. So there's two hand tools. What do we call those things? There's a name for it. One is a 40,000 RPM tool, and one is a 25,000 RPM tool. Greenwood AG says, they are fabulous. After watching Stefan, I am lusting for the belt attachment. First thing Stefan said to me is, get the belt sander. It's $600. So just for the belt sander, they don't give it away, but I promised I would get it. Let me just get underway here, and then we'll get the belt sander. So they have some very, very interesting tools, but that sucker at 40,000 RPM, which is the one I got, you could barely hear it running. And at 10,000 RPM, you actually cannot hear it running. It is really pretty cool. So stay tuned. I will share my results. There's a little button on it that will take it to a fixed speed that you choose, so you could program it. There's 2 buttons on it to choose tool A or tool B. I know DBX noticed that it will operate 2 tools, so he bought both tools, which is smart. That way you don't have these unsightly holes in the device. But I'm really looking forward to using it. Here we go. There's the zoom in. So there's the 1 and 2. It's got a hard power switch in the front, a soft switch to choose tool A or B, and it'll run in reverse. Just hit the button. DBX says there was a bit of gap between the tool purchases. That's okay. Adam says reverse is very handy as well. You can climb into a corner with stones. Ooh, I can't wait. Proteum says we're taking over/under bets on how long before you design and print some mounts. It's printing right now. It's downstairs printing. Adam, you started saying something, but I don't think you finished. That clockwise wouldn't let ... Please tell me the rest. So stay tuned. We'll have some show and tell on these guys. Super happy with the decision. And one of the reasons I got it on these laser cut parts, there is a little burr, believe it or not, on the top. So when you laser cut these brass parts, it erupts the brass. And I'm figuring a lot of that's going to be taken care of on the Lapzetti plate. Oh, I have a trick I want to tell you about. I haven't tried it yet. I got it. So Adam says, sometimes in clockwise cutting, you can't flow nicely into a feature. Reversing lets you get nice, smooth edge break. I can't wait to get my yellow belt in this. This is going to be great. But this project and these little brass, laser cut brass parts is part of what I wanted to use this tool for. Did you say which motor? I got the 40,000 RPM hand motor. The 25,000 is listed as high torque because you're trading off torque for RPM. Robin says it's like the JBCN of soldering stations. I understand that. As long as it's not a burr. We'll talk. Oh, I came up with a good idea. And Robin, you could tell me if this is nuts or not. But the idea is this, is you take a shape that you cut out, and I'm going to make a 3D printed tool to hold that shape, because you know the shape you're trying to cut, so you offset it maybe 10,000ths of an inch, and now you make a 3D printed block that has that shape inset into the block about half the thickness, and now it's easy to hold a complex part and put it on the Lapzetti plate to take care of the surfaces. So that's an idea that I had, and you can steal that idea because that's what we do here. We shall see. But again, 3D printing to the rescue. Am I right? So stay tuned. We'll let you know how that goes. It just sounds wonderful. Robin says a thin silicone pad on a block may do the same thing. Yeah, I'm open-minded. Some would say vacuous. I was thinking that if some of the features are kind of thin, it would support it and prevent it from maybe potential damage. But yeah, I like it. We'll talk more in the after show about that. But I think there's some ideas there. So I asked Sam if Sam wants the old. So I kept on saying that I have this old Dremel tool, right? That this is replacing this old Dremel tool. Well, I go downstairs to collect the old Dremel tool into a box, and it turns out it's not a Dremel tool. It turns out it's a Black & Decker copy of a Dremel tool that I bought 40 years ago. I don't know. So, Sam, you're getting that one. And this is replacing it. Oh, there's a deep rabbit hole on soldering equipment that you can go down. I don't even want to get into it. I've been a Weller guy forever, and I've never Metcal. Is it Metcal, the super fancy one that I never spent the money on, but I have used, and they are wonderful. Okay. Well, yes, Robin says the duck's guts of soldering irons. Evil says, yeah, I think you'd be a Metcal guy, seeing as it's RF based. So the Metcal soldering stations were common in the companies that I was working in and with, but I never bought one. They were, we're talking $2,000 for a soldering station. And I might have been cheap. I think I was cheap. I think that's what it was. But I never did have a Metcal. Now I have a hot air station, and I still use my, I have a Heiko, and yeah, Heiko is sort of my workhorse right now on the bench for electronics. Alexander, welcome aboard. Okay. Well, I'll take that under consideration, sir. Evil says, have you seen the clearance distances in the Wellers? I have no idea what you're talking about. Proteum says Heiko as well. Pine sulfur. Oh, I've heard of the little battery operated ones. No, I don't know what that means, Evils. Mains clearance distances. I'm unaware of what you're talking about. I guess I have some learning to do, and I'm open to that. I have never touched a battery-operated soldering iron. Sorry. The distance between mains and conductor to you. No, I have no idea what that is. You're talking about a safety thing? A breakdown thing? Yeah, no idea. I'm sure that there are some specifications where that becomes super duper important. All I know is I haven't died yet, so that's okay. Your friend with an old Metcal won't touch a Weller. Well, I've used Wellers, I've used Heikos, I've used Metcals, but I haven't owned one. And you know what? It all depends on the operator. Exactly. Speaking of operator, so here I am watching my late night YouTube, which, that's what I do. You're probably watching me late night on YouTube right now. And I watched the latest video from A-Bomb79, Adam Booth, and he did this brazing job where he built up a very significant amount of braze to repair a part. And Adam, another Adam, we have a whole collection of Adams. A-Bomb, if you're listening to this, that was chef's kiss. That was magnificent. I have had a hard time getting my head around brazing. I know I just have to put in the hours. I haven't done it yet. But one of the things I want to do is I want to do TIG brazing. And the few times that I've sat down and tried to do some TIG brazing, I realized that there is an entirely different mindset associated with brazing, different from soldering, different from welding. And of course, TIG is very different from gas. So I haven't found my spot yet where I feel comfortable doing brazing. And I'd like to get better at it, because there are absolutely cases where you have to know how to do it. And another thing that I have not gotten good at yet is silver soldering. And I know that Robin has showed some excellent examples of silver soldering, and I have all the stuff, and I need to put the hours in. But those are two things that I really want to work on. But boy, howdy, A-Bomb's video, it was a lot of braze. He built up this very significant amount of braze, and I just watched that whole thing. If you want to learn how to do something well, you have to watch the master's hands. Okay? You can't just read about it. You can't just watch a video for a few minutes. You can't just read a spec sheet. Find yourself, somebody who is a master of the art, and you have to watch them practicing the art. I think there's something there that is irreplaceable. And, watching the braze buildup that Adam did last night triggered that in my head. It's like, this 45 minutes or whatever it was of watching him work that was worth the price of admission. For example, in soldering, you would never, and I'm talking about electronic soldering. Yeah, CJ Stevens says, get some silicon bronze filler and some junk cast iron. I think I own a lot of junk cast iron, but that's another story. In electronic soldering, you would never, ever apply solder to the tip of your soldering iron while you're trying to make a junction. That's like completely wrong. You would heat up the soldering iron would heat up the junction that you're trying to solder, and then you would apply the solder from a different direction such that the two parts you're soldering melt the solder. And that's the proper way to solder. Well, in brazing, it looks like you have to add some heat to the brazing rod, which is breaking my head. And again, it's just one of those things that I have to try. So, A-Bomb, thanks for showing that. I appreciate it. And same thing with silver soldering. Again, don't quite get it, but we'll have to work on it. Did anybody else here watch A-Bomb's video? Let me see a show of hands. Because, yep, okay, Josh watched it. It was pretty cool. Halfway, okay. Did anybody else look at the aluminum slug and tense up? You have it queued? Okay, I won't. No spoilers. But let's just say that the hero won in the end. Okay, that's what you need to know. Yeah, it's worth watching. And again, you're not watching a drama. You're absorbing a skill, and it was pretty cool. I really liked it. So thank you, A-Bob. What else was going on this week? I think that's enough. Thanks to everybody for keeping me company on the Discord server. So Josh says, something I have heard is not to torch the brazing rod, but it seems like you need to. That's where my brain is at, Josh. It's exactly what I'm saying. It's definitely not the same as soldering, and it's not tigging. When I try to do TIG brazing, you see what my hand's doing? if you're watching the videos going in a circle, is if you keep, even though you're using a teeny bit of arc, if you stop moving that arc, you're going to melt the base metal, which is not why you're there. So I don't know what to do. I think you have to, what I started doing when I was playing with TIG brazing was keep the TIG moving. Whereas with a gas torch, you can not move or move slower, and you're not going to melt the base metal hardly. I mean, or I should say the danger of melting the base metal is low to none. So it's just a different world. So maybe we could convince an expert to make us a video just about one of those things. I think there was a silver soldering one a while back, but we need one on brazing. So yeah, highly recommend that video. And like that, maybe one day we'll get A-Bomb on here to talk about some of that. I would welcome him, but he's always traveling. Okay, any questions, any topics, any complaints? We're back on track. Happy New Year. We'll see you guys for sure on the following Sundays. The two guys with a pencil. I am going to talk to Robin, and I got to talk to Tom. I have some dates in mind. We're going to nail the date down, and then we're going to go. So those of you who have asked me, hey, what's going on with that? That's what's going on with that. I have to nail down a date with those guys, and then we're committed, and we're committed to landing, and then we will get it done. Promise. Submissions are still open. So if you want to submit an interesting problem to put before the experts and watch them solve it, go to pfg.gg/links. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see a big banner with the two guys and a pencil. And don't forget, Robin is reminding us,
I am not an expert.
Robin, you're our expert, okay? So yeah, we'll have some fun with that. I will talk to you, Robin, and run some dates by you, and we'll have to corral Tom to do the same. Any other questions? Everybody else good? Everybody cranking away in their own shops? If you have anything you want to send me, you could find the contact information on the PFGstones.com site. There's a contact button. You could shoot me a message. Happy to hear from you. If you need some PFG stones, just head over to pfgstones.com. And if you go to our links page, which is pfg.gg/links, you'll also find all the links. Like if we talk about products and stuff, there's links to products. There's links to other sites. There's a couple of rabbit holes. There's the monochromatic rabbit hole that's listed in there. There's some useful information. If you want to join our Discord server, there is a link on the links page to come join us on our Discord server. If you have no idea what Discord is, don't worry. Find yourself a 15-year-old, and they will teach you, I promise. But we have a good time on the Discord server, and it is quite useful. So stay safe in the shop. Go make something cool. Stay focused. And earn some clutter credits, especially during those long CNC cycles. In the meantime, we bid you to get flat and stay flat, and we'll see you guys next week.